Hello everyone and welcome to another high elo game of Age of Empires. Today we bear witness to one of the most iconic, classic, and historic matchups in Age of Empires history as DracKeN, playing as the Franks in teal, gets ready to take on Valas, playing as the Saracens in purple. Now while the players herd their hurtables, explore their immediate and closed off surroundings because we are on Arena, and try to go up to Feudal and likely Castle Age as soon as possible. Let's take a look at the Civ matchups, but first, what the hell happened to the corner of this wall? Is this open now? No, there is a nice big rainforest tree that is all that stands in the way of the Saracen base being overrun by the Franks. In any event, silliness aside, let's take a look at the Franks, the OG cavalry civilization, harkening back all the way to Age of Kings. Their nightline units come with extra line of sight, their stables can be upgraded to work 40% faster, and all of their mounted units come with extra HP starting in Feudal Age. And their deer seem to be a little bit more tame than usual. Not used to seeing deer not being super duper stubborn in this game. Now for the Franks to help support their heavy cavalry on the battlefield against annoying things like spearman line units. And I'm looking at you, Valas, camel units, he asked questioningly. They can turn to their unique unit, the Throwing Axemen, a ranged infantry unit similar to the Malian Gebeto, whose range can be even further increased. Now, to help a player produce as many Throwing Axemen as possible, Frankish castles do come with the famous Frankish castle discount, which has recently been nerfed slightly, 15% cheaper in Castle Age, now 25% cheaper in Imperial. Now, for the Franks to feed a big, hungry, militaristic population, their foragers work faster, and they get all mill upgrades for free. Now, pivoting to the south, we've got the Saracens. Speaking of OG civilizations, we have an OG cavalry civilization. We also have an OG cavalry killing civilization, and one whose strong market can be used to gain an early to mid-game advantage over their opponents. To start with, Saracen markets are only 75 wood, which is a 100 wood discount. Rather, they cost only 75 wood, and their commodity trading fee is fixed at 5%, which is significantly lower than the 30% that other civs have to pay when they, for example, buy food earlier on in the game. Now, using this economic advantage, the Saracens can field quite a hard-hitting, tanky army. Their foot archers come with an attack bonus against buildings. Their camel units come with 25% more HP. Their trebs, mangonels, and onagers can all be upgraded to increase their attack. And their unique unit, the Mameluke, is a ranged melee camel unit that comes with a big attack bonus against cavalry. Now, if, as sometimes happens in Age of Empires, your units are injured, their HP goes down below 100%. Saracen monks can be upgraded to automatically and passively heal multiple units within a 5-tile radius. Let's see if Saracen deer are any more or less stubborn than Frankish deer. Silence as we watch Valas push one of his deers. Or is it deer? Oh, look at that. The hell was the point of that? In any event, let's see what the players are doing. Both of them sitting at 16 villagers. Like I said, you've got the OG cavalry civilization. You've got the OG cavalry sniping civilization. I've been making a big stink about the Saracens lately. Number one, I freaking love the Saracens. I don't care who knows it. They are just a fantastic, in-your-face, aggressive, kill you ASAP civilization. The Franks, though, with those potential paladins, now countered potentially by those camels that have massive amounts of HP. So as I've been saying lately, what the Franks are to the Nightline units, the Saracens are now to the camel units. I mean, with Zealotry before, they got a little bit of extra HP, but 25% more now is a pretty damn bonkers amount of HP. We are, as I said, on Arena. Both players scouting the map. Both players have their scouts out on the map. The reason being they are looking for the relic. I'll go over my usual Arena spiel. Ooh, is he going to discover the weak spot in Valas's wall off? Valas must be really upset that he accidentally deleted this wall, although maybe he doesn't care. Oh, he does notice. Oh, look at that. The scout went back for just a quick second. I think DracKeN sees that there's a potential weakness here, also sees the relic. But generally on a map as enclosed as Arena, maybe even Fortress, there are generally 3 stages of the game. The first stage, the players rush their butts up to Castle, which is why you'll see both players have more than the usual 19-20 villagers before heading up to Feudal Age. It looks like our It looks like our Frank has queued up 10 villagers. I mean, that is just excessive clicking. I don't think he's going to go up to 32 villagers. Although I'm down to be pleasantly surprised. So phase one, the players basically boom, boom, boom their way into Castle Age. And then once they're in Castle Age, stage 2 begins. The monks come out. And then they start fighting, duking it out over these bad boys, the relics, of which there should be 5 on the map, which is why the scouts are running around trying to find as many relics rather as possible, leaving no tile behind. I love this scouting by DracKeN. How many times have we seen a small little sliver of darkness where a relic is hidden and the player just doesn't know that it's there? I love, look at him. He's going back. He's getting every single one by one tile that he can. Both players now heading up to Feudal. It looks like our Saracen off the back of one less villager. But anyway, once they finish fighting over the relics, then stage 3 begins. Generally people's favorite stage, where the players build big old armies and try to kill each other. I mean, it's pretty much that simple. Get your butt up to castle, get as many relics as possible while taking as little damage as possible, and then do as much damage as possible to your opponent. A jungle tree. Interesting. Have I seen this before? I don't know if I've seen that. A jungle tree. I mean, you know what? I have. It's usually these stunted ones. Jungle trees not exactly known to be super crazy. I feel like the jungle trees generally are shorter than average trees. I don't remember where I read that or saw that or something, that they have to fight over sunlight a lot more than the average tree that's just, you know, got a nice 5-meter radius around it. Or for those of you that use feet, that would be what, 15 feet radius? I don't exactly know. Anyway, the scouts are out. Both players are in Feudal. It looks like our Frank, obviously, plopping down a stable. What's the second structure here? A blacksmith. Our Saracen, obviously, plopping down a market and a stable himself. Okay, so we're going to see some relic contestation here by the players. Ooh, I wonder if Valas should have let this scout chase him into the base. That is a death sentence. By the way, what has DracKeN seen? Okay, so he's seen, despite this amazing scouting, look at the scouting. It's so nice to see it done so methodically. He still hasn't seen the relics. Is he going to go back up to this one tile of darkness here? Imagine the relic was here. That would just be absolutely sour. But in any event, he discovers the third. Our Saracen, what has he seen? 1, 2, 3 relics only. He has not seen the 2 to the left, to the north, and the south. He is buying food. He wants to go up. He wants to have as much food as, rather not going, he wants to build as many scouts as possible using that Saracen market feature. 5% commodity fee versus the usual 30, which is why you see he's got 7 villagers. Right now, gold is not that relevant. Now, I do want to just do a quick discussion. I don't get a discussion. I shouldn't have said that. I'm just going to talk. The Saracen market bonus, there's people who love it, people who hate it, people that are neutral. Essentially, the whole point of the bonus is farmers are super slow. So once you exhaust your deer, your boar, your sheep, your goats, your geese, whatever the hell you have to turn to farms for food. Farmers, though, I think are the slowest of the 4 resource gatherers. And so lumberjacks work faster, gold miners, stone miners work faster. So the Saracen whole meta is you put as many villagers as you can realistically on gold, because you collect gold much faster than you collect food. And then you just use that gold to buy food at the market because you're paying a 25% less fee for that food. A fee that's 25% lower, I should say, not a 25% less fee than your opponent's. And that is exactly what Valas is doing. That's why he's got 7 villagers on gold to the 2 villagers of his opponent. So essentially the whole Saracen market meta can be summarized into gold miners work faster than farmers. And so instead of waiting for the farmers to slowly get the food, you just buy it with your quicker gold miners up to a certain price. Now, I don't know exactly what that price is. It's 100 something. That's when it becomes inefficient. Somebody did the math a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. There's a website up there. If you Google AoE2 Saracen market abuse or bonus, depends if you hate it or love it. Somebody has come up with the exact number that at which it becomes inefficient to do that. But for a short period of time, the Saracens can really burst their way into Castle Age by buying food with more gold miners than food. Take a look, 8 villagers on food compared to the 11 of the Frank. So that's just a quick summary. Let's turn back to the game. Not too sure why I went down that rabbit hole. I just feel like explaining it. It's not an easy mechanic to master. You have to know exactly how many villagers. There are build orders out there. Obviously, there's build orders for anything. The Frank gets the first kill of the game at the 17.5-minute mark. I did not mean to sound incredibly pedantic. I absolutely hate it. I didn't want to lecture anybody. But if you're new to the game, if you like the Saracens, like I said, I absolutely love the Saracens. I think they're one of the craziest civilizations in the game. In fact, there is a video I am making. For those of you watching this, you're going to get a special preview announcement of their new upgrade by Maristan or Bamaristan. I'm going to figure out how to pronounce it properly. If somebody does know, in the let me know in the comments below. The passive healing of the monk, I think is I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think it's a pretty damn cool bonus. So I'm making a video about it. It looks like our Saracen has mixed in a few spearmen as well to shoot away some scouts, but at this point, it's going to be 1 relic to 1 unless this scout catches wind of the monk heading north right above him. Oh, he might. He just might. Oh, he sees him. He sees him. DracKeN's in trouble. He is here alone. There are no supporting units. His monk is going to die 3 whacks of the sword, and he is down. At the same time, though, he's being shooed away back home. So Valas does have 2 relics to none, but at this point, the monk did a decent job. He got the relic pretty damn close. There's now another monk heading over, and the scouts see them again. I mean, this is costing DracKeN a good amount of resources here. Oh, he blocks the monk. I don't even think he really needed to do that. That was an unnecessary loss of a unit there. 2 kills to 2 now, but 2 scouts to 2 monks. 200 gold for 160 food. Not too sure that's a fair trade. And look at that. The Saracen is busted into the Frankish settlement. He's going to get a good amount of scouting. We'll see how long it takes before this unit dies, but he is going to see everything. And that gives him an opportunity to know exactly what his opponent is doing and what he plans on doing. But as I mentioned, DracKeN, even though he lost those monks, and it looks like he lost potentially a 3rd monk, this relic is inside the base. These 2 are literally tiles away from the base. And so he's done a fantastic job. I don't think our Saracen is going to risk sending monks all the way across the map to here. Not with these Frankish light cavalry units patrolling. Now, with bloodlines, they should have the same... No, what am I talking about? Not the same... Oh, he doesn't have bloodlines. Okay, why did our Saracen not go bloodlines? Okay. In any event, we've got a 45 HP unit compared to a 72 HP unit because these are not even light cavalry units. And they're being chased away. Oh, he tries to block him. He tries to screw around with his pathing, and he actually does. Good move there by DracKeN to get rid of that 1 scout. But what has our Saracen seen? Oh, yeah, no, he's seen. Look at that. He's seen all 3 town centers. He knows his opponent is booming. He's got 4 town centers. 1 in a very forward position here. Now he's getting light cavalry at this stage. Okay, I'm not too sure why our Saracen is getting the light cavalry upgrade with 1 scout when both of these relics are here and his scout is about to die. Ooh, the relic drops the monk, tries to convert. Oh, our Frank body blocks. Fantastic move. And he gets the scout as well. So it's going to be 2 relics to 2, and in a second it is going to be 3 relics to 2 in favor of our Frank. This is going to be, I predict, and you guys know how much I hate prediction, but some people have commented I should talk about what the strengths and weaknesses of the civilizations, try to see kind of where the game might potentially go. I think this is going to be very difficult for our Frank. The saving grace for the Franks right now is going to be their throwing axemen. He's going to need to... You can't go cavalry against the Saracens. They're the cavalry sniping civilization. If not their unique unit, the Mameluke, which is redonkulously expensive. I mean, it is really expensive. 85 gold, in addition to the food cost. They also have... I'm just going to call them Frankish camels. 25% more HP. I think they cap out at 170 HP, if I'm not wrong. or their basic ones in Castle Age come with 145 HP. So I think our Frank needs to get onto stone, which is doing exactly that, having expended his original 200 stone on these extra town centers, and he is going heavy on the food as well. Now let's take a look at their army compositions, because stage 2 of the game is officially over, and it is our Frank with 3 relics to 2, as we saw. The monks now hiding in that town center, doesn't want to micro them, doesn't want to risk their lives. Our Frank moving forward, but he's seen by this outpost, as he too sees the outpost and the siege workshop. Might catch one unit here. Again, I'm really curious as to why our Saracen is going light cavalry. There's that castle. So Valas playing it defensively this game. DracKeN, a little bit more aggressive, not super duper aggressive, building a few blocking houses, probably not going to be the only one here. Oh no, never mind, it's a castle. Oh, so he was just waiting to have the stone, and he's going up to Imperial. I think the name of the game here for our Frank is to produce as many throwing axemen as humanly possible. They are not expensive at all. They are only 25 gold. And I think hand cannoneers. I don't know why. I feel like hand cannoneers. Now, the Saracen army is susceptible to archer fire. Camels don't exactly come with the best base armor of 0-0, and I think Mamelukes are 0-1. So archers usually a decent play against them, because their heavy cost really doesn't allow them to, you know, mass. You're never going to see 60 Mamelukes outside of a game that's an hour and a half long, and the players have just basically taken a pacifist approach throughout and then just build up their armies. So you're really hoping that he can't afford way too many of his expensive units. Imperial Age for our Saracen as well. But this is why I don't like predicting things. This is why I don't like to get too much into Civ predictions of where games are going to go. I'm going to say throwing axemen, and then our Frank is just going to overwhelm with those 192 HP paladins that they absolutely love. I mean, look at his gold. It definitely does look like he's going paladins, although a throwing... I'm just going to shut my big mouth. Crocodile springs into action as well. Looks like he is going to take out, or rather get taken out by this villager. And our Frank, I mean, what is going on here? He's building some little things all over the map. And another castle. He is 15 seconds away from Imperial. What is he going for? He's going for throwing axemen and Mameluke. Oh my goodness. We are going to get to see Mamelukes versus throwing axemen. I'm not even counting these light cav. They are going to melt like butter on a hot day to these this combo of pikemen and Mamelukes. You know what another good counter to Mamelukes though is? A monk. Ooh, one monk here dies for our Saracen. Another one dies to the throwing axeman. Another one dies. No more monks for purple, who now engages here with a very small army. Let's compare the stats here of a throwing axeman to a Mameluke while this happens. So the Mameluke attacks one more. Their range is the same. And I think the throwing axeman might have more armor. No, also a base of 0-0. And these guys, yeah, base of 0. Now, throwing axemen, a few notes. Number one, their range can be increased to 4 instead of 3. And they're also a third of the gold. I think these guys cost 25 gold. These guys cost 85 gold. And I think the same amount of food, actually. Oh, wow. Okay, the same amount of food. 55 gold, 55 food each. Welcome to Cast of Empires. If this is your first game watching me cast, a journey of discovery where I just rant about nothing in particular, but everything relevant. Throwing axeman going to try to close in on the mangonel, but he gets a good attack round there. Valas absolutely doing a good job so far. And all of a sudden, we've got no more cavalry on the field for our OG cavalry civilization, though what we do have is 2 big fat castles. The Trebs are not even ready yet. They're still... Okay, one does finally pop out, but this castle is already on its last heels. And it is down. Luckily, our Saracen has one more castle here to the back. What am I seeing up here? Outposts, outposts galore. Where are you going? And stables. How many stables is our Frank going up to? 5 stables for him. He now moves in with a bombard cannon. It's going to take more than one volley of the mangonel to get him. I don't think the Mamelukes needed to close in that badly, but they do anyway, and they get the BBC. who is now going to shell away at this Treb. Usually 3 balls needed, but when it's being repaired, maybe 4 or 5. Let's see. This is number 3. Oh, but a few more villagers come in and repair it. Oh no, oh no. Good decision there, by the way, by Valas to pack that Treb up and get it moving. Oh, but it loses another Mangonel. Our Saracen going siege is super fun to see. Remember, they get counterweights. Their siege attacks 15% more. Rather, I guess, harder? Cavalier upgrade for one player. Elite Mameluke upgrade for the other. Saracen siege, not something to scoff at. What is this villager still doing here? Why is blue number 1 not killed this villager? And number 2, why is the villager not doing anything? This one at least built an outpost, made himself useful. Our Frank at the 35-minute mark of the game has penetrated the Saracen base. Siege Workshop is being taken down. Not sure that's really that relevant right now. You see your opponent has gone full on Mameluke. Might want to start attacking castles. He died, by the way, doesn't know about this castle. Unlike our Saracen, our Frank has not put any outposts out onto the map at all. So he is now moving forward with his Cavaliers. But the Cavalier's only 144 HP. He's got to get the Paladin upgrade. He doesn't have the gold for it. He's going up to 15 Cavaliers. So our Frank building a diverse army here. Bombard Cannon, Throwing Axeman, Cavalier. Our Saracen pretty much just going all in on Mamelukes, and I am here. They are going to shred. Watch why I love Mamelukes. Look at this. You think they're going to die? They're not going to die. They're not going to die. Paladin in 1 minute 40 seconds. I mean, look at this unit. Look how much it has survived. I think this might be one of the first one that died up here to the north, and bye trebuchets. I mean, tell me this is not one of the best units in the game. Silly as it might be, throwing scimitars. We've discussed this during my live streams. As silly though they may look with their scimitar throwing, this is a boss freaking unit. Now throw in a few monks. Yeah, he's getting 1 monk. Is he getting Bamaristan by Maristan? I'm gonna have to look up how to pronounce it. Defensive Frankish castle here as the light cavalry units start flowing forth. Oh, by the way, the Saracens also have fully upgradable hussars, if that wasn't enough for you. But 3 forward stables, 9 forward barracks. Okay, that's one way to deal with Mamelukes. Just flood them with pikemen, I guess. As these light cav shoot away the villagers. How many are garrisoning, hiding for their lives? 13 of them. But that entire Frankish assault has been stopped, and there is the hussar upgrade in 7 seconds. Things are gonna get very, very ugly for our Frank. Oh yeah. Now luckily for him, blast furnace is still 50 seconds away. If you're going melee, get yourself blast furnace as fast as possible. It's a 1 minute 40 seconds, 100 seconds to research. Okay, I mean, this is just a throw of throwing axemen. They got 1 camel for all of those humans. That was ridiculous. I'm not counting this one that was killed by the castle, it looks like. And they'll just move in again. They'll move in again, they'll snipe, and they'll run away. Because remember, these are camel units. Look at their HP, 133. But overstayed his welcome a little bit. Hasn't healed them enough. Where are his monks, by the way? Over here. Now, one of the cool features of that by Maristan upgrade is that generally to heal, a monk has 4 range. That passive healing has 5. So it is very much a buff. So you have one civilization like the Franks that has recently been nerfed by making their castles a little tiny bit more expensive, 10% more expensive in Castle Age. Now, whether 65 extra stone in Castle Age is really that relevant, I don't know. I don't know what the hell the Valas is thinks he's doing here. But the other civilization buffed significantly. Pikemen take on halbs. These are 2 meat shields. Let's see attack speed. That's one thing I'm very curious about. The throwing axeman, 2-second delay. The Mameluke, a 2-second delay. So they attack on the same speed. But again, these Mamelukes, they've done about 4 hit and runs at this point. Their HP is suffering. They are down 1,000 HP, a third of their HP. At least pull the throwing axeman into the castle. Now, I talk a big game. How much I love the Mameluke, but the throwing axeman, man, oh man, can it do just as much damage as the Mamelukes, especially, like I said, when they cost a third less gold. If you can get these guys 3-1, they are absolutely going to crush it. A castle, no murder holes for DracKeN just yet. Halberdier tries to come be a hero here, takes on 3, dies, but allows the castle to get a little bit of damage done. Players are kind of disengaging. Good time to look at the map. I'm going to zoom out. Our Saracen has expanded to the right side of the map with 8 stables and looks like 4 siege workshops that are producing literally nothing. Our Frank to the left with all those barracks that we saw. Halberdiers have finally cleaned up the hussars. The run-bys are done. And our Frank, despite my fanboying over the Saracens, has not been dislodged. He's still in the forward position. He's seen this new target, this castle. How many trebs? 4 trebs for our Frank. Where's the 4th one? Must be making its way down. Yeah, there we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Rutrow gets discovered by these hussars. Let's see if they stop him. Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. Valas sees it, immediately pounces with these fully upgraded FU hussars. Okay, a few Mamelukes like this are not going to cut it, especially when one had like 5 HP on them. But this is a shitload of throwing axemen. Our Saracens sending forth pikes. They do not get halberdiers, so their meat shield is slightly weaker when it comes to the spearman line. That being said, the Franks don't get... Oh my god! The hussars! I was literally about to mention the Franks don't get hussars. They do a little maneuver through the back here. Fantastic! 1 treb down. A 2nd should go down. A 3rd will be saved, but that's a lot of food to kill 2 trebs. While the throwing axemen push back the Mamelukes. What an absolutely epic game. Now, in Arena, it took a while to get here. About 30 minutes or so before the players really started butting heads, but this is why Stage 3 of Arena is really what I love. I mean, don't get me wrong, Stage 1 is fun to see how they macro their economies, to see how the pro players manage their scarce resources. Stage 2 is amazing because you get to see a lot of micro with monks and the scouts trying to snipe monks and spearmen trying to save the monks. But Stage 3 is really where you get these massive armies. Oh, where are the Mamelukes going? Where are the Mamelukes going? Our Saracen has speed. Our Frank has presence. He's 30 supply ahead of his opponent. Another Saracen castle bites the dust. But the Frankish castle here bites the dust, as well as 3 Saracen trebs. They do not have counterweights. Is our Saracen missing both unique upgrades? I don't recall seeing the monk upgrade being researched here, but our Frank is here, and he's got paladins, remember, now siege engineers as well, so he's going to have extra range on these trebs. The Saracen trebs heading home after they, of course, got the job done. They are not really needed to kill this town center. This town center is the perfect example of why you don't kill your sheep, you shear them. You know, you come in, you snipe a bunch of units, do a little bit of damage, lose a few hussars, but then come back in a few minutes because there's going to be 5 or 6 fresh villagers there for you to kill. Although it looks like our Saracen kind of just wants to get rid of that town center. Oh no, the paladins are absolutely having their way at the same time. A big battle here. We've seen it in picture unfolding. Again, 31 kills on 17 Mamelukes. That's going to be much higher now that the halberdiers chase in. Bombard ball misses. Hussars miss an opportunity to get a few monks. They place themselves firmly in between the throwing axemen, the halberdiers, and the Mamelukes. Look at them just running around. These guys are born to die, the fruit flies of Age of Empires. Although I've said that about the pikeman line units, so I should find a new analogy. Town center still under attack to the north. Saracen economy still being gutted to the south, but the real battle is here. Take a look at villager count, though. Our Saracen is in a bit of trouble. This might be very problematic for him. He's down to 79 villagers. Did he let those paladins have a little bit too much of their way with his base? Why are the Mamelukes not heading south? Okay, now they are, but they're running right by their opponent. They're running right by the paladins. Okay. Our Saracen focused to the north. Our Saracen heading south. Our Saracen GGing. And there you have it. Wow. What a fun game. What an absolute fun game. This is why I called it one of the classic. You know, we've seen Mongols versus Teutons, where you have mobility versus death ball, but this is cavalry versus cavalry sniping. This is like I said, back in my day, I really sound like an old man here. Back in my day when it was Frank Deathmatch, Frank Wars, everyone chose Franks, and those of us who dared to be a little different with Saracens absolutely had our way. Absolutely had our way with the Frank players. On the whole, obviously no one has a 100% win rate. But in any event, I'm glad we got to see the throwing axemen. I'm glad we got to see the Mamelukes. Camels, okay, didn't really need them this game. He's got 3 petards. Where are they? Okay, in the middle of nowhere. 2 of them at least. I don't know where the third one is. But wow, our Frank just using that castle discount, plopping down a whole bunch of infrastructure, getting a big, juicy meat shield of halberdiers to support the throwing axemen. These axemen, 26 kills for 14. These Mamelukes, 42 kills for 14. 3 kills for every Mameluke is a pretty damn good stat. The problem for our Saracen is, I mean, look at his base. It's a ghost town. It's a shanty town. This is incredible. This is like Deadwood, South Dakota. I mean, he's got to open up a bunch of casinos here to attract people to come. But look at this. Emptiness. This is why our Saracen just could not keep up. Look at his resources. 5,000 wood, but no food, no gold. And these are food gold intensive units. Now, maybe he could have used a bit of that gold beforehand to use these 4 siege workshops. I'm not too sure why he built 4 siege workshops. Maybe as a backup, right? I mean, their siege line is pretty damn good. I think the Saracens are only missing the Scorpion, the heavy Scorpion. Everything else they pretty much get with siege engineers, by the way. Wow, what a fun game. Let's take a look at the stats. 92 pike, 146 light cav, peak APM, middle of the game, peak APM right at the end of the game for our Saracen. Oh yeah, of course, he was fighting on like 6 different fronts. And look at that, our Frank with about a 10% bigger economy, just a little bit more gold. So here's my question to you, dear audience. The 750 extra gold that he generated, was it worth the cost of 4 or 5 or even 600 gold that he lost when he got his monks sniped, plus all the time he needed to micro and manage those monks, right? Although in theory, if he didn't have those monks, it would be 5 relics to 0, and then it would be 4,000 gold to none, which would then be pretty damn bad for our Frank, who has a 10,000 gold lead over his opponent. Not surprising, with absolute map control. The only metrics that our Saracen has are more wood, which he died with a lot of it in the bank, and 1 extra castle's worth of stone. But food and gold going to our Frank, which is funny because, again, the throwing axeman costs 25 gold. This bad boy costs 85 gold. And our Frank just absolutely overwhelms our Saracen. Still has 39 army supply, but a little bit of it is here, a little bit of it is here. The real story, though, is that absolute gutted economy. 64 villager kills to 22, 300 kills to 200. So 100 more kills, 60 more military, 40 more villagers, approximately. I don't like to get bogged down in the specifics. But our Frank, I mean, look, both players expanding out onto the map. Our Saracen with extra resource gathering here, his military industrial complex here. Our Frank, more resources here, military industrial complex here. So a fantastically balanced game right up until the end, when our Saracen just did not have an answer to the raiding. I think if he still had these villagers, if he still had this army of farmers, he probably would not have GG'd. But again, look at this unfortunate ghost town here. This is crazy. He's got 15 villagers garrisoned in here. He's got nowhere for these villagers to run. They can't run into houses. There's no town center anywhere nearby. These are all dead villagers. Let's take a look at some of the kills on these paladins right before. 50 kills, 40, 45 villagers. Wow, what the hell do you do against that? 45 dead villagers at the hands of 13 paladins. These are good kill ratios, by the way. I like to talk about ratios a lot, especially for ranged units, but these paladins putting in the work. 50 kills, and the Mamelukes as well, 42 kills for them. What an absolute epic game. I'm glad we got to see throwing axemen. I'm glad we got to see Mamelukes. I'm glad we got to see Frankish paladins. I'm glad we got to see all of it. That was just a super fun game, but it is our Frank with the push southward that busts pretty early on in the game, who's kidding who, into our Saracen base, created a dead zone, and then raided the hell out of our Saracen. That being said, the Saracen put in the work. He did not go down easy. A lot of fun maneuvers here out of those Mamelukes, and if you didn't believe me when I said they were tanky and awesome units, just watch this game back and you'll see exactly how powerful they are. I think perhaps Valas would have been how do I put this? Should have gotten, I don't like to say should have because I'm not the one playing. I'm not the one under stress and trying to click a million things at once. It would have been helpful if he had that Bimaristan upgrade or Bamaristan upgrade, however you pronounce it. It would have been helpful if he had a few more monks, because the problem with these Mamelukes, they did so much damage, but every time they poked and prodded at the opponent, a little bit less HP, a little bit less HP, a little bit less HP, until we saw they were down about a third of their HP. And at that point, with the Halb Meat Shield and the Throwing Axemen, which, by the way, have 5 range now to your static 3, the Mameluke range doesn't change, can't be upgraded, it's always stuck at 3. So these Throwing Axemen are going to outrange you. They attack on a 12, you attack on a 14. You got 4 melee to their 4 melee. So the stronger unit here, the Mameluke, but ultimately the numbers are in favor of our Throwing Axemen. And with that Throwing Axeman, with the Halb Meat Shield, with the Paladins raiding the absolute hell out of the Saracen settlement, it is DracKeN who takes the W, but GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.